So let's talk about both of those. I know he initially paid for it. Did you pay him back?
For the cruise and for Aruba, yeah, I gave him his money before we ever went on that trip.
You gave him cash before you ever went on the trip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so when you got cash to pay him back on these trips, would you go to the ATM?
No, lady.
You would not go to the ATM?
No.
Okay. So Fulton County pays you direct deposit, I assume?
Yes, Fulton County and the state of Georgia both pay me direct deposits.
Okay. So the cash that you would pay him, you wouldn't get it out of the bank?
I have money in my house.
You have money in your house. So it was just money that was there?
When you meet my father, he's going to tell you as a woman, you should always have, which I don't have, so let's don't tell him that. You should have at least 6 months in cash at your house at all times. Now, I don't know why this old black man feels like that, but he does. When we were growing up, my daddy had 3 safes in the house. So my father's bought me a lockbox, and I always keep cash in the house. Now, I don't do it to the degree that my father would do it, so he would probably be ashamed with me, but I always have cash at the house. That has been, I don't know, all my life. If you're a woman and you go on a date with a man, you better have $200 in your pocket. So if that man acts up, you can go where you want to go. So I keep cash in my house, and I don't keep cash as good in my purse like I used to, because I don't go on many dates. But when you go on a date, you should have cash in your pocket.
So my question was, where did that cash originally come from?
All right, Greg, what do you got?
So I see, Chase, I agree with you. She is fed up. I think she feels like she's above this, and I think she feels like this is politics. And I think whether she's right or wrong, politics is an ugly business. And I feel like she feels like she's being put on the griddle in front of people because of something that she doesn't deserve. If you want to, let's just look at the body language piece of it, that I'm above all this. She's very contained and very curt. And you can see that she is trying her best not to show absolute contempt as she goes through this. Some of that's cultural. You know, we always say, I told you guys a long time ago, a good buddy of mine told me one time, you can be passionate because you're white. The minute I'm passionate, I'm angry. And that's an important part to remember, that people perceive often in our culture, African-American folks, as angry when they're passionate. So I think a lot of times, especially if you're in roles and you're in government, you have to be a little more contained, and people are keenly aware of that. If you want to know how she feels, she's leaned back, looking down her nose with her forehead up. That's what you got. That's what you got. That's all day. Bring it. Whatever you got, just bring it. And then you watch her blink rate increase, and you watch her narrowing her lips and her eyes and purse her lips finally in disapproval. And then that entire posture change, that's just come on. I think when you see that, that's authoritarian almost. When I'm willing to sit back in court and go, is that all you got? That's a huge thing. And I think that anger is part of what we're seeing in this reason for all this movement. She probably does have cash in her house. Don't know how much, don't know if it's enough to cover all this. But the real rub here has nothing to do with the questioning and everything to do with the person, everything to do with how it's being approached, in my opinion. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, so there's something in this clip that I call a detail Mount Everest. And it's about the story of her father and maybe even some good advice for people. I don't know. But when you see a mountain of detail coming out of somebody like this, what comes after a mountain? A valley. And then there's a detail valley. So somebody who offers a tremendous amount of detail about a topic that's completely irrelevant, and then offers a tiny or zero detail, in this case, about a topic that is more relevant and more close to the question being asked, you've got what I believe is one of the top 3 red flags of deception in the world. And this is such a perfect display of detail mountain and detail valley that I'm going to be using this video for training. When she's asked about getting the money from the ATM, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see a huge postural adjustment, leaning to her right. Forehead is relaxed until she looks up and makes eye contact. And this behavior, this eyebrow flash behavior is so programmed into us that I've got a 2-month-old baby here at my house, my baby, and she does this. She does this to get approval. Then we see lip licking, which is we associate with stress, and it's a hygienic gesture. Then we see eye closure or eye blocking during the denial at the precise moment she makes a denial. And there's some serious discomfort. The hand under her chin, then to the front of the chin, then to the face, multiple adjustments in the course of 2 seconds. Then there's covering the mouth and the lips when answering the question. This is, in my opinion, one of the largest clusters of behavior that might indicate deception that we've ever covered here on our show at all. Scott, what do you got?
I agree with you. Yeah, you covered a lot. I'm trying to get rid of the stuff that you're talking about and not do it. But I think what happens here, we're seeing her set up and we're seeing a change in baseline here because of that lean back when her hand goes to her face and she starts touching her lip and she starts pushing her finger into her face. We're going to see that quite often after this. So those are the things that help her relax as well. And those are her pacifiers, her adapters, the way she gets rid of that built up stress and tension and comforts herself. So we're going to see that quite often after this. And then she gets really still. Once she starts that lean back and gets back there, she gets really still. And that lets us know she's trying to take control of this situation because maybe she's got so much stress, she's not going to flip out, but she's going to get overheated, let's say. So maybe she's trying to calm down a little bit. And then she starts the mother of all chaff and redirections. She starts going down this road. It's real. And the whole time I was watching that, I was like, I couldn't help but think of Greg the whole time because it was almost ridiculous how far out of the way this little story goes as she's going along right there. What are you going to say, Greg?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, I thought you were coming to say something. Mark, where do you go?
Nope. Yeah, well, first of all, Chase, I liked how you qualified that it's your baby that you have.
Me too. I was thinking
that.
It's important.
And I just want to substantiate. It is Chase's baby. He hasn't borrowed it, stolen it.
Go get it, Chase. Show it to us.
Really,
I have a random 2-year-old
in any way. It's actually, his baby. Just in case anybody worries. That's why a baby is around at Chase's house right now. Look, couldn't agree with you more. There is a large cluster of changes on this as I see her really getting boxed in by this question around the cash. Like, where did where's your proof of where this cash comes? Because the insinuation is here, especially in a modern age, but most importantly in a modern age. And being somebody myself, I don't carry cash at all. I can't remember the last time I had any note or coin in my hands. And so it's very easy in a modern age to go, anybody with cash is nefarious in some way. It's got to be illegal. If anybody has cash in their hands, it's got to be illegal. And that's the insinuation here, and I think she sees herself getting boxed in. Now, maybe she had that cash for bad reasons. I don't know. But big cluster change here. And what she comes up with, in my mind, is a cultural, family, and gender tradition and necessity around having the cash. So she goes back to her dad and she goes, look, it's a cultural and family tradition to have cash, and also as a woman, you're gonna need $200 so that you can, get yourself anywhere in a tricky situation, especially if you're dating. I mean, given that she gives a reasonable narrative around that. Given the insinuation, I think, is anybody handling large amounts of cash must be. Can't be telling the what do you have there? IRS, isn't it? Can't be telling the IRS where that came from. And the insinuation probably is some underhand payments going. I mean, it's easy for the mind to wander into these ideas once they've been put forward. So look, nice. I think there could be a couple of things going on here. Either the cash is nefarious in some way, and that's why there's the cluster around this, or she knows that there is the insinuation there, and it's not a good optic. Her going, I just got cash under the bed, and having to explain that doesn't do her any favors. Now, same time, Greg, to your point, look, you don't get into what is absolutely a political battle, not knowing there will be a lot of blood all over the carpet and floorboards. And to my understanding, having asked about this landed on her desk. She potentially hasn't. I mean, I guess she chose to pick it up or not pick it up. But I guess if it lands on your desk, you've got to prosecute it, or you say, we're not prosecuting this. Anybody prosecuting this has got to know the other side or a side is coming at you, and they will not spare you, because in politics, there's only one thing you're meant to be doing, which is to win, and win at absolutely any cost. And both sides will try and win. Having been there, we try and win at absolutely any cost, and we don't care who goes under. And nobody's falling on their swords on this one, which means somebody is going to have to get one in the back. Now with her, we maybe won't know which is the back and the front, because the dress is not indicated.
Nicely done.
I got there.
Well,
I got there in the end.
covered.
There was going to be something. I knew there was some tie in there. I'm Mark Bowden. Thank you very much.
I wish I had my hat on. I would take it off for you for that. I'll give you a hat.
That was good.
One of those tape replays.
So let's talk about both of those. I know he initially paid for it. Did you pay him back?
For the cruise and for Aruba, yeah, I gave him his money before we ever went on that trip.
You gave him cash before you ever went on the trip? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so when you got cash to pay him back on these trips, would you go to the ATM?
No, lady.
You would not go to the ATM?
No.
Okay. So Fulton County pays you direct deposit, I assume?
Yes, Fulton County and the state of Georgia both pay me direct deposits.
Okay. So the cash that you would pay him, you wouldn't get it out of the bank?
I have money in my house.
You have money in your house. So it was just money that was there?
When you meet my father, he's going to tell you, as a woman, you should always have, which I don't have, so let's don't tell him that. You should have at least 6 months in cash at your house at all times. Now, I don't know why this old black man feels like that, but he does. When we were growing up, my daddy had 3 safes in the house. So my father's bought me a lockbox, and I always keep cash in the house. Now, I don't do it to the degree that my father would do it, so he would probably be ashamed with me. But I always have cash at the house. That has been, I don't know, all my life. If you're a woman and you go on a date with a man, you better have $200 in your pocket. So if that man acts up, you can go where you want to go. So I keep cash in my house, and I don't keep cash as good in my purse like I used to, because I don't go on many dates. But when you go on a date, you should have cash in your pocket.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.